With Amazon FBA, recently seems like all you hear about is bad news and then even more bad news. But finally, I think we're getting some good news, and I'll share with you what that is in this video and why I think it may be promising leading into 2022. Hey, what's up everyone, Yaniv here, and in this video I want to make it obviously super clear that I'm not some sort of a global supply chain expert, nor am I an economist or someone who knows the inner workings of literally everything. I'm literally just some guy on the internet. So I'm going to do my best in this video to explain to you kind of what's going on in the situation, and then also give you really what it's going to be is my prediction on 2022 in terms of shipping rates, cost of goods, and a few other things. So with that out of the way, we can dive right into it. So as you probably know, if you're in the space or if you have your own business, rising shipping costs and also material costs have been happening slowly over the past year or so. Shipping cost has increased drastically over the last year. Rising material costs a little bit going up slowly. I'm noticing this in my business, and obviously it's starting to apply some pressure on profits and stuff like that, and passing costs onto customers, but it's not always that easy. Now, from my understanding, this has to do with a bunch of different regulations, supply and demand, and also inflation. I don't think you can chalk up the whole increase to just one thing or another. I think there's a lot of factors that played into it, and like I said, I'm not an economist or anything like that, so I can't really get into that. But in my opinion, I think a lot of it came from a definite increase in inflation. I think once the economy started to open up, especially the USA economy, a lot of people had money that they were getting from the governments and stuff like that they were going out and spending on Amazon or on other kind of stuff, and really shooting up the demand on these products, whereas the companies were just restarting their supply chains as the world was kind of closed for a while. And that caused a kind of imbalance in the demand and the supply of the goods. Demand went up for these products, and then the companies didn't have enough product, enough stock, or the manufacturers were getting kind of swamped, so their kind of prices went up. And the problem actually happens was when prices usually tend to go up, what's supposed to happen is that the customers at one point say, I'm good, I'm not going to buy this, it's too expensive, it's not worth that cost. But what actually ended up happening was that, for example, shipping costs went up. And then everyone was like, you know what? You'll still pay. And then shipping costs went up again. And then they continued to pay. And then shipping costs went even more, and people continued to pay. And that's when, it's really kind of this feedback loop of, really what's almost showing inflation, right? It kind of shows you what's happening is as people continue to buy, there comes a point where you're not going to pay $20 for a loaf of bread. You're going to say, no, I'm not going to buy that. But what ended up happening here is people continued to pay for the rising material costs, and they would go up, and then people would pay more. And the same thing for shipping. And it kind of looped off into this crazy thing that we're seeing now, where shipping costs are exorbitantly high and raw material prices are also pretty high at this point. Now, obviously, I think this is a super simple explanation of this, very layman's terms, but this is, from my understanding, how it all works. And I spoke to my supplier, my sourcing agent, and people in China trying to figure out what exactly is going on over these past few months, and even right now, trying to figure out what is happening, when is this really going to decrease, and when is this going to kind of stabilize. And I think that we finally got to that moment. So here's my personal prediction for 2022 in terms of shipping costs and raw materials. I think that shipping costs are definitely due to decrease, and I think that raw material prices are also either going to decrease slightly or really remain stable, stabilize themselves, which is really, really good news for us. And the reason I say this, the reason I'm kind of making this prediction is because once I spoke to my supplier, he told me that basically in terms of, manufacturing and stuff like that in China, it really has decreased this holiday season, and actually going past, the holiday, they don't have that many orders. They have 30% less orders. And that's what made me think that's actually finally becoming a good thing. That's finally showing, where the markets really start to stabilize. They say, you know what, I'm not going to continue to increase or pay the increased prices for these things. And what that is in turn supposed to do is really stabilize the markets and allow for the prices to rebound back to, or I don't know if rebound's the right word, but normalize somewhat back to where they were. I don't think that the prices for a very long time are going to reduce back to where they were maybe a year or a year and a half ago, but I think that any reduction in price is pretty, I don't think it's a super hopeful thing. I think it's definitely going to go down, and that means, a lot of good things for us as Amazon sellers. Finally, a lot of products that became kind of, impossible to ship or too prohibitively expensive to ship will now be able to really look into those and really dive into the markets that we were maybe holding out on, giving you more profits and really not having to pass on everything down to the customer, which is a good thing for everyone. Now, I might come back to this video in 6 months and think that I'm a total idiot, but you know what? I think that I'd rather put this video out there, get some of your opinions. If you disagree with me or think that I'm completely wrong, or why, let me know, right? Leave a comment down below. Tell me why I'm wrong, or tell me why I'm right. Tell me what this actually means. This is something I spoke with my supplier. He said this is a potential thing, but it's obviously not guaranteed. That's my prediction though for 2022, at least let's say the first quarter of it. I think we should see a decrease in these costs. That's pretty much it for me, guys. If you want to see another video where I go through all my predictions for 2022 in terms of Amazon FBA, e-commerce, all the space, let me know in the comments too, and I'll make sure to put that out there for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.